So what do those on the front line think?
Okay, so I think it's very interesting, isn't it? We've had thousands of junior doctors as part of a junior doctor movement from October 2015 screaming out loud that you are struggling to provide a 5-day service and you can't stretch 5 days over into 7 days without significant problems.
Kishan, office yoga. Should business owners be doing more to take pressure off the health service when it comes to staff?
100%. I mean, we spend most of our lives at work. And I think a little bit of freedom, a little bit of flexibility. Again, another pun there for yoga. Thanks for getting into it now. But no, a little in terms of, I can't help myself, sorry. But yeah, no, it's really important because you can save a lot of money in terms of staff sickness. And as a doctor, prevention is obviously better than cure. So little innovative approaches to taking different measures to just help staff. Is a good thing. But interestingly, in the UK, we spend the most hours at work, but we're the least productive.
Yes.
So there's a lot of sort of just coasting and just sitting around there.
Yeah.
Make a
Thanks.
good boss.
Come on, very kind, thanks.
The government say they've addressed most of your concerns. Give me one concern that you think they haven't addressed.
Well, I think patient safety has got to be at the top of the agenda. Guardians have been mentioned. These are trust-appointed positions that would safeguard junior doctors working, but they don't seem as robust as the severe financial penalties in place at the moment.
This row between Boots and BPAS and campaigners looking for the price of the morning after pill to be reduced.
Yeah, I mean, they apologise, but I think, women have always had the rougher end of the deal when it comes to contraception, in terms of like hormonal pills, or coils, or various things. What I would like to think about this on the way in this morning is if they're really that sorry, why don't they invest some money in a kind of sex education programme in schools in terms of to make people aware of the risks. We've seen with the super gonorrhea strain that's coming out, this is really important stuff. And Ella and I were talking in makeup actually about how there was some trials of male contraceptives, and they said they didn't like using them
because the effects were bad.
Yeah, they had a headache or something, or feel unwell, and which
For them.
for them. Yeah.
The issues facing the NHS are throughout the year. It's not limited to just winter. And I've been a doctor since 2009, and it's been gradually getting worse.
Take us back to the very beginning, Kish. Why did you decide you wanted to be a doctor in the first place?
So when I was 14, I became sick in India, and I was treated for a couple of months with what was suspected viral encephalitis. I saw how medicine could make people better, and it made me better, and I thought I wanted to do it. So
Kishan, I really want to get this story in that you've picked out warhead antibiotics to take on superbugs.
And I mean, I think one of the reasons that I'd like to talk about this is because if people can make do in terms of coughs and colds and not pressurising their GPs into antibiotics, everybody can play a part in helping stop this resistance, because ultimately we'll all pay the price for it if it happens. But the antibiotics that we do have are a precious, sacred resource. And everybody has to take responsibility for that.
A video has been made asking people in Lincolnshire to choose the right NHS service for treatment. Dr. Rees works for the county's main health trust.
It's a public awareness and it's an education thing in terms of letting patients know that this service can help you in this way and that way.
Random. Let's talk to Dr. Rees. Good morning.
Good morning.
There is no indication, is there, that there's going to be a mass exodus of staff as a result of Brexit?
I think that's entirely right, and I think the first thing to kind of bear in mind is scaremongering like a mass exodus is not particularly helpful to discussion or debate.
What would it mean, do you think, for the NHS if we do see that slow and steady decline?
I think it'd be a disaster. Your patients are going to suffer, people potentially have to wait longer, people might not get surgeries and things. So yeah, I don't think it's particularly helpful.
There's a sense with all this just how important the NHS is to us.
I think it's absolutely right. It's critical to the well-functioning of the society and people being healthy. And I mean, this is the one that sticks out for me, National Hacked Service.
We're going to have a look at this story in the Mirror, Kishan.
So I mean, if one positive can come out of the shambles that it appears to be how Brexit is being negotiated, is this tuck into this, where Armando Iannucci is saying that he's going to bring back Malcolm Tucker and Alan Partridge for a really good cause in a special in the big issue, because I think it will be hilarious, and we need to start a campaign to bring them back. We need them back on our screen.
I know.
Have a referendum, as long as they inform people fairly and give people both sides of the argument, and let people decide, which they didn't, because they spent, I think, £9 million on a leaflet that was just putting out the positive view of staying in and not giving people the facts. And a lot of people were upset with that.
And most people wanted to get out.
I think there's potential benefits of leaving, don't get me wrong, but it depends on how those negotiations are carried out. And I look at them, how it's been played out in the media, and you've got the Foreign Secretary undermining the PM before Tory party conference season. You kind of think, well, are they really? It looks a bit concerning.
Now we've got a chance to have a look at a cat store. These, give a cat a small space, Kish, and it will want to get in.
Pretty much. I think they get safety and security from it, don't they? I think some of this stuff my cat wouldn't be very keen on.
Oh, that's my
and would probably run away, to be fair.
Oh, it's catatonic.
Yeah,
See what
very
it is
good.
there?
Yeah, very good.
Yeah.